Dear friends, this is episode number 71. I forgot to give some of the citations under Rule 4. Please note AER 1964 Supreme Court 1964 Supreme Court 1425 AER 1977 Supreme Court 789 AER 2003 Supreme Court 1754 AER 1987 Kerala 1994 then AER 1964 Supreme Court 1305. That was a suit for ejectment, 64 Supreme Court 1305. Suit for ejectment by the landlord, filed by the landlord against the lessee and sublessee. Suit was decreed. Appeal was filed only by the sublessee, not by the lessee. What happens? Can the appeal be allowed and the decree reversed in the appeal filed by the sublessee? It was held that it can be done. And if the appeal is allowed, that will be to the benefit of the lessee also. So that is AER 1964 Supreme Court 1305. Then we go to Rule 5. Rule 5 is of constant application. Along with the appeal, almost every appeal there will be some application for stay. An appeal shall not operate as stay of proceedings under a decree or order appealed from, except so far as the appellate court may order, nor shall execution of a decree be stayed by reason only of an appeal having been preferred from the decree. But the appellate court may, for sufficient cause, order stay of execution of such decree. The mere filing of an appeal will not be a ground to stay the execution, will not stop execution, will not prevent the decree holder from filing the execution petition, will not prevent the executing court from proceeding with the execution. Execution proceeds. Or delivery is ordered, delivery of the property is ordered. And on the previous day of the date of delivery or 2 days before, an appeal is filed. No stay is granted. The executing court is not prevented from effecting delivery, or the decree holder is not barred from taking delivery. So that will go on. So the mere filing of an appeal will not operate as a stay, nor shall execution of a decree be stayed only by reason of an appeal having been preferred. This is the sub-rule 1. Explanation. An order that is added by 1976 amendment. Explanation. An order by the appellate court for the stay of execution of a decree shall be effective from the date of communication of such order. Date of communication of such order of the court. Date shall be effective from the date of the communication of such order to the court of the first instance. But an affidavit sworn by the appellant, based on his personal knowledge, stating that an order of stay of execution of the decree has been made by the appellate court, shall, pending the receipt from the appellate court of the order of stay of execution or any order to the contrary, be acted upon by the court of first instance. When shall the stay be effective? From the date of communication of such order to the court of the first instance. So a decree for eviction is passed. A shop building is to be delivered to the decree holder. The decree holder files an appeal. Tomorrow is the date of delivery. He gets an order of stay today. He could not produce that stay order before the appellate court today itself. But tomorrow, at the time of delivery, he could not get the order. He says that fact before court, that the appellate court has granted stay. Court says, where is the order? That will be effective, technically speaking, effective from the date of service of the order, date of communication of the order. But no court will do it. The court will say, all right, I will post it after 2 days or 3 days. You produce the stay order. But if an affidavit is filed on behalf of that appellant, either by the appellant's affidavit or even but an affidavit sworn by the appellant based on his personal knowledge. The appellant states in the affidavit which is filed before the trial court that I have filed an appeal, the appellate court has granted stay, I shall produce the order of stay within 2 or 3 days, and therefore the execution may be stopped. The executing court is bound to accept it. Bound to accept it. What are the conditions? The execution of the decree has been, shall, pending the receipt from the appellate court of the order of stay of execution or any order to the contrary, be acted upon by the court of the first instance. So it is not necessary. The stay order takes effect from the date of communication to the court of the first instance. But reasons may be many by which an order of stay cannot be communicated. Either because the court is situated at a very long distance, High Court, situated 200, 300 kilometers away. How can a villager get the stay order on the same day and produce it? It may not be possible. Either it has to be sent by post or by speed post or by hand or something like that, or the client has to go and fetch it from the lawyer. But by that time the execution may take place. What is to be done? He telephones, suppose from a distance of 500 kilometers. A party files an appeal with the High Court. Appellate Court grants a stay. High Court grants a stay. Tomorrow is the date on which the delivery will take place. On getting the information from the lawyer, that person rushes to the trial court and files an affidavit. I contacted the lawyer today. He stated that the appeal number is so and so, and he stated that the High Court was pleased to grant an order of stay. I shall produce the stay order within 1 week. An affidavit is filed. The court of the first instance, which is the executing court, cannot proceed with the execution thereafter. Shall act on it. That is amendment. So this is after getting an order of stay granted by a court at a distance of 300, 400 kilometers, you need not worry how to get the order. You need not worry. File an affidavit. That is enough. Court cannot do anything. Court has to act, honor that affidavit. But you cannot file a false affidavit. Filing a false affidavit may invite so many difficulties. It invites punishment, and the court will take it very, very seriously. Then, to stay by the court which passed the decree. Where an application is made for stay of execution of an appealable decree, before the expiration of the time allowed for appealing therefrom, the court which has passed the decree may on sufficient cause being shown order the execution to be stayed. So today a decree for money is granted in my favor against you. You have to file an appeal if you are aggrieved. That is a time, 30 days. Or it is to the High Court, 90 days. But before that, I am taking steps for execution, to arrest you, to attach your property. Then you will be put to trouble. Then you do what? You file an application in the court which passed the decree, which took a decision against you, saying that I propose to file an appeal. Time is not over. Time is there till 15th June. Therefore, the execution proceedings may be stayed. The court which passed the decree on sufficient cause from being shown order the execution to be stayed. That the trial court which passed the decree has got the power to stay, not indefinitely. On the ground that the appellant, that is the defendant who suffered the decree, the judgmentar is going to file an appeal. The time for filing the appeal is not over. Therefore, as a solace, as a relief, it is necessary to grant a stay. The court will grant a stay. The court which granted the decree itself will grant a stay. That is sub rule 2. 3. No order of stay for execution, no order for stay of execution shall be made under sub rule 1 or sub rule 2 unless the court making it is satisfied that substantial loss may result to the party applying for stay of execution, unless the order is made. That the application has been made without unreasonable delay, and that security has been given by the applicant for the due performance of such decree or order as may ultimately be binding upon him. What are the things? I said that while dealing with rule 1.3, where the appeal is against a decree for payment of money, the appellant shall within such time as the appellate court may allow deposit the amount disputed or furnish security. Now please read that along with this. No order of stay of execution shall be made under this sub rule 1 or 2 unless the court making it is satisfied of what? That substantial loss may result. That the application for stay has been made without unreasonable delay. Security has been given for the due performance of such decree or order as may ultimately be binding. Suppose money decree is there, 10 lakhs. I suffered the decree. I may not be able to deposit that money. I may offer security of my item of immovable property to the satisfaction of the appellate court. I offer this as security. That is enough. The court may accept it. Now, on reading it, one may get an impression that without doing this, this will not be entertained. It is not a ground not to entertain the appeal. These are all the conditions for granting stay, for admitting the appeal, for sending notice to the respondent in the appeal. These conditions need not be there. See sub rule 3, no order for stay of execution shall be made. Suppose the appellate court says, all right, I will admit the appeal, you deposit the whole amount. That is not legal. But the appellate court may say, all right, I will not grant stay unless you furnish security for the whole amount. That the appellate court has got the power. That power emanates from sub rule 5. then the appellate court has got the discretion. You deposit 1/3 of it, you deposit half of it, you furnish security, you give, say, either security bond or furnish immovable property as security to the satisfaction of the appellate court. All these are possible, but that is not a ground, not a condition precedent for filing the appeal or entertaining the appeal or admitting the appeal. There is a division bench decision of the Kerala High Court on that, 1989 1 KLT 386. Non-compliance of this provision would not entail in dismissal of the appeal. Court cannot dismiss the appeal. Court cannot dismiss the appeal. The court can dismiss the appeal under Rule 11. Only after that Rule 11 stage is over, stay will be considered. Court can reject the stay petition on the ground that you did not comply with these conditions. That is possible. Court passed an order of stay to deposit or to furnish security or do this, that. The appellant failed to do it. Is it a ground to punish him, to dismiss the appeal? No. Court cannot do it. Party cannot be punished like that. Court has no jurisdiction to do it. This is only a condition for granting a stay, not a ground for not entertaining the appeal. But there are certain statutory appeals. Say, for example, under the Customs Act. There are several other statutes also. For filing the appeal, it becomes necessary to deposit the amount or to furnish, deposit the amount or half the amount, whatever it is. There are several special statutes like that. But this is not like that. The appellate court has got wide powers, wide discretion, and anything is possible. The court may grant an unconditional stay if the court is satisfied. But no order of stay of execution shall be made unless the court making it is satisfied. This was made mandatory. So some order will be passed. But from experience I am saying that absolute stay without any conditions are also being granted by the appellate courts in the facts and circumstances of each case. And even the respondent may not oppose, because the respondent's lawyer also may have to appear as an appellant's lawyer. So he will not. So these are all some sort of give and take. This is the rule. But it is not fully as such always implemented. How is the state concerned about it? Only the parties are there. If the parties are concerned, they will argue. Does not curtail the power of the court is my personal opinion. But definitely it is not a ground to reject the appeal, dismiss the appeal on the merits. This is only a condition for grant of non-grant of stay. Grant of stay. Now, you may also see Order 27 Rule 8A, 8 capital A, along with this. What is that? Order 27. Yes. Order 27, suits by or against the government or public officers. Rule 8A. No security to be required for the government or a public officer in certain cases. No such security as is mentioned in Rules 5 and 6 of Order 41 shall be recovered from the government, or where the government has undertaken the defense of a suit from a public officer sued in respect of an act alleged to be done by him in his official capacity. If a decree is granted against the government, I filed a suit against the government. A decree is granted. Government files an appeal and applies for stay of execution of the decree. Can the appellate court make a condition like this as found in Rule 5 of Order 41? No. It cannot be. It cannot be. Even otherwise, I'm sorry. Even if an officer of the government, a decree is passed against you, government had undertaken his defense, then also, suppose a police officer makes an arrest illegally or harasses a person in the police custody, a suit is filed for compensation against that police officer as well as the government. The government takes up the responsibility of defending that police officer. The court grants a decree against that police officer for compensation. And an appeal is filed by the government and as well as that officer. The appellate court cannot insist on this condition under sub-rule 3 of Rule 5 of Order 41. That is Rule 8A of Order 27. So when you are appearing for the respondent in such a case, you cannot file an application that this has to be complied with, because the government pleader will point out, see Rule 8A of Order 27. Or you are a government pleader, then also you must be aware of it. All these things occur. That is a connection between the two. Sub-rule 4. Subject to the provisions of sub-rule 3, the court may make an ex parte order of stay of execution pending the hearing of the application. I said it at the inception. Stay application for stay is filed. Appeal is filed today. The appellate court may take up the application today itself, grant a stay without hearing the respondent. It is not necessary. Ex parte order can be granted. Notwithstanding anything contained in the foregoing sub-rules, where the appellant fails to make the deposit or furnish the security specified in sub-rule 3 of Rule 1, the court shall not make an order staying the execution of the decree. This is amended in 1976. In spite of all these conditions, I am saying on the practical side of it, it is not being fully implemented. The reason may be, as I said, you are a lawyer, you file an appeal, you get a stay. The respondent's lawyer may oppose this. See, this is Rule 5, all these conditions must be there. And stay for opposition order is passed. So the same lawyer has to file as an appeal as an appellant. Then the other side may say that. So court also finds sometimes there may be difficulties. These are all the conditions, of course. A money decree is passed, or a decree, say take a case where recovery of possession, a suit for recovery of possession. It is decreed. The appellate court sees that the judgment passed by the trial court is horrible, wrong. And the appellant files an appeal, gets a stay. Conditions necessary, or a money decree passed against a person. Appellate court sees that that judgment is wrong, liable to be set aside. Huge amount. Appellate court finds. Can the appellate court record that at the inception that I am satisfied that this judgment is liable to be set aside, therefore I grant a stay? No, no such order can be passed. The appellate court has no such jurisdiction. This is in mind of the appellate court. Look at the judgment. It's unsustainable. It will be liable to be, it is liable to be reversed. But meanwhile there will be stay, the stay is applied for, and if no stay is granted, execution will be proceeded with. But that particular person is not having sufficient resources, or sufficient, or there is having only house and compound, it's only property, he may give that as security, no harm. Sometimes it may cause hardship. All these technicalities, technical arguments, all these things are possible in letter, but not in practicality. In practical situation, something extra is required. That the officers, the judicial officers know, the lawyers know, the parties know. So all these things need not be written. There need not be any decision of the Supreme Court on that. That on the practical side of it, it is all these persons are aware of it. So we'll deal with the other rules in the next episode. Time is going to be over. So we will see again, meet again from rule 6 onwards we have to take. So we are going in a slow pace, but I think it is necessary. Yes, thank you.